You're listening to SM Media, the number one place for exclusive Scottish football content.
You have the heart of a giant, show it. You got the pride of a lion, roaring. Maybe you need big love, you don't need to give up. 'Cause something real is waiting there for you. You've been flying solo, now it's time to let go. The only thing that's left for you to do.
Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the SM Media Scottish Women's Football Show. I'm Scott McPike. It's an absolute pleasure to be your host as always. Delighted to be joined by, welcoming back, Suzanne Mulvey. Suzanne, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure as always to have you on.
Thanks very much, Scott. Great to be here again.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on. We obviously took a week off last week due to the fact there was no football on, so it's good to have the football back in it.
Yeah, definitely. Again, lots of different things happening, lots of scorers, some results that maybe are a bit unexpected as well. But yeah, it's great for football to be back. I think everybody across kind of the whole nation, has missed it a lot and obviously realises the circumstances around it not being on, but just delighted that it's back again.
Yeah, absolutely as well. We will touch, before we get into the league action over the weekend, Scotland were in action between the times we last did a show. 6-0 away win to Faroe Islands in the final group game meant that they are now in the playoffs to qualify for the World Cup. And it's potentially 2 home games from Scotland and a trip to Australia and New Zealand. Now, Suzanne, you're the way this is going to work, I think it's confusing. Now, am I right in saying if Scotland beat Austria and beat Ireland, there's still a possibility that they might not qualify?
It's a bit more complicated than normal. I think it kind of it's hard to work out. But I think most importantly, the first thing is just trying to beat Austria. Obviously it's even kind of the way that the ticket sales have went out. Buy the both tickets. So I think that most of the players will just be concentrating on that first game. Austria try and win that, and I think out of the draw, when I looked at it, Austria were the highest ranked team in the draw, so it's probably the worst possible draw. But at the same time, if you're wanting to qualify for these tournaments, you're going to come up against top teams there. So, if you want to get there, it doesn't matter what route that you get there. You've just got to obviously, stick your head down and concentrate and focus and obviously try and get the results.
There was a lot of positives to take out the win over Faroe Islands.
Yeah, definitely. Most importantly, a clean sheet. It's always important for the defence, for the goalkeeper to get a clean sheet. So the fact it was a clean sheet, and then also as well a convincing win, and a few different scorers as well. It's always good for a few different players to be on the score sheet and not so much relying on one player. Yeah.
Going into the obviously the next couple of weeks, we're going to see a lot more when we look at this kind of World Cup, it's going to obviously be about, as we say, the 2 wins are obviously, if Scotland win the 2 games, you'd hope they win them convincingly. It's going to be a case of try and win but score as many goals as possible, because it's 2 out of 3 can qualify, I believe. I don't think it's a playoff thing. I think it's if you finish third in that group, you could win both games but still not qualify.
Yeah, and again, that's what I'm saying about the Faroe Islands. It's important that they kept a clean sheet and obviously got a few different scorers. Definitely, just go there and first and foremost, you need to get the win. You need to focus, you need to stay tight at the back. But then obviously, if you do score, then obviously that's a platform to build on and try and get as many goals as possible. But at the same time, stay strong at the back.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, when the games kick off, we'll be here to do a wee preview on them. But we'll move on to the league action that took place over the weekend. We actually had 3 games on Wednesday. We'll touch on the first one. Rangers keep this run going in the league, that 6-0 away to Partick Thistle. Rangers, and they're just winning. They're winning convincingly every weekend, and they're keeping this run going. And Suzanne, I know you've got a wee stat about the Rangers goal scorers.
Yeah, they've got 14 different goal scorers in their team. So no matter what kind of team they field, they've got goals in that team. 14 different players. It's not even 10 outfield players. It's 14 different scorers so far. And there's obviously a few players that haven't even really hit the ground running. You feel are going to contribute a lot more. They like say, Oshman, Kirsty Howitt as well. She's kind of just coming back from injury, still just kind of easing herself back in. So I'm sure she'll be in amongst the goals even more so going forward. But again, convincing, still not conceded a goal this season, so to be that strong at the back, that's great. Obviously, in terms of knowing that when you're coming up against the bigger teams, you've not conceded, you've got a tight back line, great communication, and then obviously the likes of the forward players that they've got, knowing that they can score that many goals. It's a great spine they've got right through their team, so they're looking good again this season.
Yeah, and we'll touch on a big game for them during the week where they'll be at Ibrox at home to Benfica. We'll touch on that later on in the show. But Glasgow City again, they're hot on Rangers' tails. Another impressive victory, 4-0 away to Hibs. We'll get your thoughts on Glasgow City first. I know it was a very convincing performance. Have you been impressed with them so far?
Yeah, we spoke about it before. A couple of times they've nicked a goal and they've just managed to win. And again, it doesn't matter how you win. You've got to win, and it's shown that they've got that. Although there's not a lot of players that have been involved in Glasgow City for a great number of years. Hayley Lauder, Lee Gibson are the only two kind of familiar faces that you've seen a lot. But they've still got that winning mentality. They still know what it takes to win, and they're still grinding out the results, which is important. And a convincing, a really convincing result there. Not conceding a Hibs team who, hit or miss Hibs, but not conceding any goals and convincing 4-0. So
do you worry a bit for Hibs? I know obviously we spoke about them a couple of times in the show. 6 points with 5 games. They should be aiming for more than that, you think?
They are. It is a hit or a miss with them, and obviously Dean Gibson spoke a couple of times about so many different changes and trying to gel the team together. So maybe they will get stronger as the season goes on. But I think that it would be far too ambitious for them to even think that they're going to break into that top 3. I'm very convinced it'll be the likes of Rangers, Celtic, City. So their aim will be to finish that 4th spot. The best of the rest. But again, it's just a hit or a miss. You just don't really know what you're going to get with them.
Yeah. Hearts 2, Dundee United 0. That was the final game on Wednesday. Again, Hearts 3 wins for 5 games, sitting in 4th place. Probably they want to be. They'll be happy with that, I would imagine.
Definitely. I think that they showed a good few performances last season in terms of defensive performances, but never quite got the results. And I think they've built on that this season. They've added a goal scorer, Georgia Timms, who's again got another one midweek. What a difference she's made. That's probably what they needed. Just somebody that can, whenever there's a chance, they'll take that chance. And she's shown again that she's a really good striker that they can rely on. And Dundee United, they've kind of had a few good results. A team that are a good side. So for them 2-0, it's convincing. And again, it's great for Hearts. Obviously, another few points on the board for them. They will be delighted. And
on Sunday, the 3 games we'll touch on, we'll start with Celtic 6, Hamilton 0. Again, Celtic, we spoke about their potential. They would lose a lot of goals, but they've been rampant so far this season. They've been very impressive. What was your overall takeaways for that game?
Just kind of the same, the goal scorers. Obviously, I picked Jacinta to be the player of the year this year. She banged in a couple. And Clarissa Larissy, who was under the radar during our preview show. We never really done much. She has stepped up to the plate and another goal as well. They're the same. They've got a few different goal scorers. Craigie again getting on the score sheet as she tends to, most weeks for a defender, which is brilliant. And again, the most important for them is they've not conceded any goals either this season, so they're looking really strong as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to get when the kind of 3 teams, the kind of top 3 meet against each other, it's going to be exciting because I think the both teams can score goals, but what we've seen as well is all 3 of them can defend pretty well, and that's the big thing.
It's no 0-0 draws.
You would like to think it wouldn't be. You would like to think it would be, yeah. But again, we were in Hamilton as well. What do you think of them?
They've had a great start to the season, a couple of wins. I think it took them much longer last season to get, that many points on the board. So, I mean, they've came up against Hibs, they've came up against Rangers, they've came up against Celtic, where they're not expected to take points. So for them, I think it's been an okay start to the season where they've picked up points, against Aberdeen. So I think they've done pretty well, and they will be happy with that start. Like I said, coming up against the top teams, you're not really expected to take any points. So just a learning curve for them. They have a lot of young players, so it's just important for them to take as much as they can from the games and build on that when they play against the teams run about them in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Motherwell 4, Glasgow Women 0. Carla Boyce with a double. They're sitting in 5th place away 7 points with 5 games. Decent start, and again another big result Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. Again, they're one that I always feel maybe a bit of a hit or a miss, but doing well. They're expected, I think, to win against Glasgow Women. You can't really see Glasgow Women take many points off anybody this season. So it's expected, but very convincing. 4 goals to the good, and obviously no conceding, so they will be happy with that. And again, it's a not bad start. They're sitting 5th, so right kind of the right end of the table where they want to be. So I'm sure everybody in that camp will be happy.
Yeah, and the final result we'll touch on: Spartans 2, Aberdeen 0. Big win for Spartans, but Aberdeen is there a bit of concern there so far? No wins for 5 games, losing a lot of goals. It's not been great so far for Aberdeen.
Yeah, them and Partick Thistle, I think, are the only two teams that haven't won a game. Of Glasgow Women as well. 3 teams that haven't won a game yet. Yeah, I think so. I did touch on at the start of the season that although you've got that travelling when you go up to Aberdeen, they've got the travelling every other week.
Yeah.
I just feel that although they did well last season, I just feel that this time round it's a bit stronger. And although they've got good young players, they've not got as much experience, and you really need that. You need that. People are kind of realising the strengths that they've got. They've got the pacey striker, they've got a couple of good midfielders, and they're basically managing to cancel them out. And I feel that's why they've not got the win that they crave this season. So no worry in such. I think they probably will pick up points. They will get wins off people at the moment. It's just kind of a slow start for them. They've got good manager up there, so a couple of managers up there. So I'm sure that they'll turn it around and manage to pick up some points. But yeah, I think it is just kind of they've just kind of eased their way, and they've not really started or got in second gear yet. So I'm sure it'll come good for them. I'm not really concerned about them being at the bottom of the table. But obviously they'd like to be in a better position at this stage.
Yeah. My thing with Spartans as well is I'm keen to get your thoughts on this. That I don't think they've got a star player who's kind of going to carry them throughout the season, but they've got a lot of players who when together make for a really formidable unit.
Yeah, I think that that obviously what Debbie's creating there is kind of like you say, is a family, a unit, and they work for each other. It's good to see Becky Galbraith on the score sheet again. The top goal scorer last season. She's a slow start and also got a goal, and LG was the other goal, so only kind of 4 goals. So it's not great for them, but obviously a really really important win. And like you said, it is a unit for them. So I'm sure it will. That will probably propel them a result like that going forward. That'll be great for them, great for their confidence. So I'm sure that'll take them, into the next few weeks, and I'm sure that they will get more victories or at least pick up more points.
Yeah, again, another really interesting week in the SWPL 1. League table hasn't really changed as such. Obviously, Hearts, Motherwell, and Spartans, the top 6 in the league are the top 6 that won over the past few days. So it shows you that the big teams are getting it done. We took a break from SWPL 2 this week, and it was the SWPL Cup. Just run through the results. Queen's Park 5, East Fife 1, Montrose 1, Stirling Uni 4, Gartcairn 3, Boroughmuir Thistle 1, and Kilmarnock beat St Johnstone 5-4 in penalties after a 2-2 draw. I think the first place we need to start Stirling Uni going to Montrose and winning 4-1. That was a big result for them.
Yeah. Definitely. I think that's probably, if you say, a result of the weekend, not even, just in the cup the whole weekend. I think that's probably the result. They've been playing better, the last few kind of games. And I think that probably was a shot because Montrose have looked good. They've looked really good, caused a couple of upsets. So for them to get a convincing win, I think that's absolutely, amazing for them. And hopefully for them in the league, they'll be able to take that into the league. Because obviously, they've kind of haven't had the best results over the past couple of seasons. So hopefully they can take that in the league. But definitely that's the result of the weekend for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's a massive result as well. Kilmarnock needed penalties to beat St Johnstone. Morgan Steedman with a double for St Johnstone again. She's just scoring goals every week. I think with Player of the Week, I think she's been on it every week since we started it. But Kilmarnock, they've been ravaged with injuries. That is a massive result to beat St Johnstone. I know kind of both teams will be fancying to win the league, but again, to play each other, it's one of those games where you think, where is this going? But as we say, it came to penalties, and Kilmarnock, their fighting spirit got them over.
Yeah, I think that's kind of going to be maybe indicator of what it's going to be like. The two of them fighting right up at the top of the table. Both really good sides. They've showed their qualities. Obviously, Morgan Steeman, lots of goals. She's contributing great for them. But yeah, I think it is going to be tight at the top, and obviously when it goes to penalties, anybody can win, But like you say, it's come on, quite a few injuries, so for them to kind of get that result will be great for their confidence, definitely.
Queen's Park 5, East Fife 1. Again, obviously it's a cup competition, and East Fife haven't really started well, but Queen's Park will do them a lot of confidence to get a convincing result, particularly at home, and get a couple of players in the score sheet. I know there was obviously kind of big talk over the week of what this cup represents. Obviously, I think the top 12, the 12 in SWPL 1 get straight in it, and Queen's Park will obviously, that'll do them the world a good winning a game like that.
Yeah, definitely. A convincing win. East Fife, are they maybe going to be a hit or a miss? You just don't know. But for Queen's Park to get that result, I think it's great. They've had a lot of changes, a lot of kind of personnel changes, and obviously Craig Joyce going in there as manager. So this could maybe be the start of him finally, putting his kind of stamp on the team and them coming good. So, but obviously time will tell over the next couple of weeks. But definitely very convincing for them.
And Gartcairn beat Bournemouth Thistle 3-1. Again, two teams very similar in terms of kind of quality, but Gartcairn at home, Dion Brown and Amy Robertson with two of the goals as well. Really formidable team. A lot of really good players who score a lot of goals. I mean, it's a big result for Gartcairn.
Yeah, definitely. They've got quite a bit of experience in their team, and I think that's vital in that league SWPL too, because it's a competitive league, so you need that experience as well as having lots of youngsters. They need that experience, and Dion Brown, obviously, she's contributing really well for them. So delighted for her to go there and obviously kickstart her career again. So a good couple of goals, and delighted for them. I think that they're quite happy to fly under the radar, but if they keep getting these kind of results, they'll not be under the radar for much longer. People will pick up and definitely, know that they are a threat, obviously going forward into the league.
And we have the draw here. I'm just going to go through it and we'll see what you think of it. Oh, no, sorry, the draw will take place on Tuesday at 2 p.m. So we're probably just going to be recording this over the draw. But again, with the 4 teams get into it, will there be, when you were kind of playing in the kind of cup competitions, would you think more about getting a kind of a dream tie, or would you hope to progress as far as possible in the competition? What would the kind of thought process be?
Kind of, I've obviously played for different kind of teams. Like I said, I played at Motherwell, who were in SWPL too, and obviously in the League Cup, the first round we got Rangers. So that was great for us. Obviously, SWPL 2 side playing against Rangers, and it ended up they beat us 1-0. I think they scored the last 10 minutes. I was through on goal, and somebody took me out right then. They got the red card, but we never scored from the free kick. So it's one of the ones where you want to play against top teams, but at the same time, it's always good to have a cup run. When I was at Motherwell, we got all the way to the Scottish Cup final, so it was great. And we played against the likes of Spartans, so it wasn't weaker teams that we played to get to the final. But yeah, as a football player, you want to test yourself, you want to play against top teams. So I think if you're a team that wants to go on and win it, you've just got to think it doesn't matter who you play. You're going to have to play nearly every day at some point. You're going to have to play top teams. So it doesn't matter who you get. But for other teams, but I mean the likes of Gartcairn, people who are new to SWPL 2, for them to get a dream draw, if they're playing against a Rangers or a Celtic or a Glasgow City, even if it's away, their experience in that atmosphere, it would be great for them. Even like say East Fife, Montrose, any team who's kind of just new dreams of a bigger tie. But yeah, if you're obviously when I was at Glasgow City, Rangers, Celtic, it just doesn't matter who you play and when you play them. You just want the games to come and perform against the top players. But yeah, I think for a smaller team, sometimes it is great just to get that wee draw. If you're not thinking that you're going to go in and win it, then why not get the experience of playing against a top team?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean it's good. Jay, are you a fan of this? The League Cup plan? I think this is a new thing into this, wasn't it, in place last year?
Yeah, it was the cut. I mean, it was like the round robin. It was kind of the league, if you like, a small, mini leagues. And the difference is, I think when I spoke to quite a few managers, they said they were just using it as a mini pre-season because you had a couple of games, before the league even started. You had a couple of the League Cup games. So it's a cup competition. Apart from like the Champions League, where you've got the group stages and then the knockout. But it's a cup competition. You want there to be knockouts, like obviously. Kilmarnock winning on penalties. That's the fun of the draw, knowing that it's not and it can go to penalties. For me, that is the better way to do it. I prefer that when it's just a knockout. Yeah,
absolutely. I really like the idea of it. We'll move into SWF Championship. Renfrew 3, Morton 1, Livingston 3, Hutchie Vale 1, Ayr 1, Rossvale 2, and Dryborough Athletic 2, Inverness 3. Renfrew and Rossvale are sitting top of the league. Obviously, 2 big wins as well. What was your kind of thoughts in that league over the weekend? Any results stand out to you?
I think it was kind of just cut and dry. Most teams that you expected to win, won. There's no kind of team that's looking right out there to you go and win. There's still kind of a couple. I mean, it's early days, but there's still kind of a few teams round about there who could still go in and win the league. So not much happening. Not a lot of surprising results. Still quite tight results. There's never, it's no. I mean, if you look at SWPL 1, every team that won didn't concede. So it was 4-0, 2-0, 6-0. Whereas, the fact that you're getting kind of, both teams are scoring, it's that, there's kind of more to it. I think it makes it quite exciting. There's more teams involved and the games are quite exciting. It could go either way. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really good as well. As you say, both teams are scoring. It's looking a really competitive league. We've said that every week, but you look at kind of Renfrew and Rossvale, they're winning games. Livingston obviously have started really well. Hutchie Vale, I think that was their first loss second loss, sorry. But again, they four are probably looking maybe the four that are maybe going to be up towards the top of the table. But again, it's early days. But I really think that league is probably one of the most interesting leagues out in the whole kind of women's football scene. But SWF League 1, let's look at that. I think we have to start with Westdyke going to Dundee West and winning 10-0. You don't like to see that, but again, it shows you that Westdyke have a lot of talented players, and they're sitting third in the league so far. They've had a really good start in terms of goal difference.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, like we says, there's kind of, a couple of teams that maybe haven't got beaten yet, that are still right up the top. But it could go down to goal difference. So when there is a chance where you're away, and they're maybe starting to play well against obviously Dundee West, just obviously they've been ruthless and they've kept going and going and going, and you hate seeing scorelines like that. But I've been in a team where you've thought, the most important thing is obviously to win. But if you're 2-0 up, 3-0 up, then I've seen it where, there's players that have ran it in the net and just picked the ball up and put it in the centre spot, and we're like, right, we're just going again. Mm-hmm. And, obviously you're talking SWPL 1 at the top end of the table where you're like, we're using this as, a platform to build on. We're going to, waves the attack. We're going to try different things. It's maybe not the same, further down the leagues, but, very important to get that goal difference, and obviously very convincing when you don't like to see it. But when it happens, praise teams if they're going away to Dundee West and getting that result. You've got to praise that. They've done excellent.
Oh, absolutely. Falkirk are sitting top of the league there, keep their 100% record going. 2-1 win over Grampian, giving them their 5th win of the season. They had to dig deep, but Falkirk are obviously keeping that winning run going.
Yeah, definitely. I'd made a mistake last week. I'd said that Suzanne Wyatt was playing with another team. She's playing with Falkirk, and obviously, top of the league, and she's a good goal scorer, obviously scoring again. So fantastic for her, fantastic for Falkirk, and a tight game, 2-1. So it's shown that the league is competitive, but again, obviously, that they're unbeaten, so it's great for them. They'll be delighted.
Quick rundown of the other results. Edinburgh Caledonia 3, St Mirren 4, really tight game there. Giffnock 0, FC Edinburgh 5, Airdrie 1, BSC Glasgow 2, and a double for trialist for Stenhousemuir. Stenhousemuir drew 2 each with Glenaffer Thistle. Trialist seems to pop up an awful lot. Is that just a silly joke?
I actually had a wee look to see if I could figure out who the trialists were. Goal scorer, trialist 1, goal scorer, trialist 2. No much information at all. Obviously, if they're not signed yet and they're scoring goals, you don't want to alert other players who they are, to try and tap.
No, you certainly don't.
So you can understand that, the thinking between that, but obviously great for them if they've got players coming in and they're scoring goals. Hopefully they will sign them up. But the likes of St Mirren getting a vital win, great for them. That was 4-3, tight game, very convincing. And obviously BSC Glasgow, they've not been doing too well at all. So a fantastic result. Yeah, fantastic result for them to get the points there. Close game again, 2-1, but obviously to get that victory, it's good for them, and hopefully that'll propel them on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, another really exciting weekend in the SWPL and SWF. What's coming up this week, we'll do a wee preview. Rangers host Benfica Ibrox in the Champions League. For the Rangers players going to play at Ibrox, I think I want to say this is like the first time they played in Europe at Ibrox. What an occasion that will be for them.
Yeah, this is the first time in Europe. Obviously they played the away leg, the kind of group stage there. Mm-hmm. Just, there's a few, whether you support Rangers or not and you're playing in that team, it's a massive occasion. It's, when I was playing at Celtic and we played at Celtic Park, there was Rangers fans in the team, and they were delighted about playing at Celtic Park because it's just such a great place. So to play at Ibrox, with the history that they've got there, the great European nights that the men's team have experienced there, especially after, getting all the way to the final last year. And obviously it does add a wee bit for the the Celtic fans in the team. Nick Dock, obviously she's kind of the poster girl for for Rangers, diehard Rangers fan, went there. She's doing amazing in the Scotland squad and everything. It's just a fantastic occasion, and obviously it's, you know, down to all the people kind of behind the scenes, like say Amy McDonald too. You know, she was building years ago to try and put Rangers in a place that they're in now. So people like that have got to get credit. But I think it'll be an amazing occasion. I think I'm going to try and pop along to it. But it'll be that atmosphere, and hopefully they'll get a big crowd. It's very possible that they could beat the record. I think that Hibs have got the record, you know, at Easter Road. So I think it's very possible, you know, that they could get that record there. And I hope they do. You know, you want big occasions like that. You want football to grow. We've seen, you know, the SWPL down south, the crowds that they got at the weekend. You know, Liverpool beat Chelsea and it was a record crowd at Prenton Park. So you want that. You want to see the game growing up here as well. So I'd absolutely love for them to smash the record and get an amazing crowd. And obviously, you know, every game in Europe is, you don't know what you're getting, because teams, you don't know much about them unless it's one of the top teams, you know, where you see on the TV all the time. So it'll be a big night for them. Hopefully they can get the result. Hopefully they can, you know, they can perform well. And like I said, it'd be amazing if they got a big massive crowd and just had a great occasion for the girls involved.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the kind of betting, and Benfica evens away from home, so they're obviously a decent side. I think a lot of people probably will fancy Benfica, but this Rangers team should have no fear. They have just so much talent, attacking talent. They can give anybody a game, in my opinion, and I hope they do it. I really hope they do it.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. This'll maybe be where you'll see them getting tested more, and you'll see how their defence is going to, you know, hold up against maybe a few more attacks than what they're used to. So it'll be really interesting. I think that they will be put under a lot of pressure. A big night, you know, there'll be nerves playing at, you know, Ibrox, knockout stages of the Champions League, you know, just fantastic. So it'll be a great occasion, and I really do hope they do it as well. And as I say, I hope they get a massive crowd. It'd be brilliant for the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be really good. It's on Tuesday at 7:30 as well. We're going to wrap up the show for this week. Suzanne, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. Been another really entertaining week. Thanks for joining me.
No problem. It's a pleasure as always.
Thank you very much to everyone that's tuned in. Please join us on our show next week. We'll have a new show, and subscribe to our social media channels and follow us on our YouTube page. We'll see you all soon. Thanks very much.